Now then guys, how you doing? Thank you for joining me again as we take on the Leicester rebuild. Now Leicester, they are well and truly in the mud. And rightly or wrongly, I think it's inevitable that Brendon Rodgers will get the sack. They've just been blown away by Brighton at the weekend. And yeah, I just think Leicester, it's not good there. Fofana now gone. He has gone off to Chelsea. And today we're going to be using the most updated FM database, which shows that Fofana will have already gone to Chelsea. And I've got a lot of work to do to get this team back to where it needs to be. But yes, before we get back into that rebuild, if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot as the channel continues to grow. Plenty more rebuilds coming. So yeah, please make sure you're subbed. Right then guys, so here we go. Now you've just got to remember with this updated database that we are still in 2021. It doesn't move forward to the season that we're on. It just means that the players that we've got have left us. Kasper Schmeichel, is he still at the club? No, he's at Nice. I was going to say I'm sure he's gone. He's down there as the club captain, but he's already disappeared. But yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. Now obviously, historically, they have won that one Premier League back in 2015-16. You know, that's impossible, but they've done it. They've done it nonetheless. And it was never expected that they would do it again. You know, it was never going to be a back-to-back. But they've really moved forward. You know, the last couple of seasons, 5th place finishes. Yes, they capitulated in the last couple of seasons. They were in the top 4 and they fell apart. And maybe that is now indicative of the way they're playing this season. However, they haven't really invested. When we look at the finances-wise, I've got £52 million in the overall balance, but I've only got £10 million in the transfer budget. However, the most important thing is 100% of transfer revenue is being made available, which is massive for us, really. We've got £2.3 million on the wage budget, and we're currently spending £2.6. Debt and loan-wise, £406 million debt. And a transfer debt of 8.1 million. Wowzers, lots going on there. So what do the board want then, and what is the club vision? So the club vision is to play attacking football, play entertaining football, and develop players using the club's youth system. The 5-year plan then is to expand the stadium and to work within the wage budget. End of current season is a top half finish in the Premier League. You know, we've got to go for that, haven't we? Reach the quarter-final of the FA Cup, reach the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup, and become recognised as best of the rest. So yeah, realistically, a top 6 club. Then we just continue doing that for the next 5 seasons. Now, for me, obviously, I'm wanting to win the Premier League. Very unlikely what we're going to do it this season. What I will say about this as well is I'm not going to bring any new players in this transfer window. All our wheeling and dealing, our main signings will be done in the January transfer window. So I am just going to simulate forward to January, and then we'll talk about the rebuild. But as it stands, not too bad there. Play attacking football and play entertaining football is now what everybody wants. Squad dynamics wise then, team keys and average, club atmosphere is excellent and managerial support is good. Top influencers wise then, Evans, Vardy and Albrighton are team leaders. And Jamie Vardy, the absolute snake, he's loving me being there. He's already washed his hands with Brendon Rodgers after he's been sacked. Other players down there influential wise, but yeah, Jamie Vardy took absolutely no convincing. So looking at the best players at the club then, Jamie Vardy, Yuri Tielemans, who somehow has stayed. Don't know how that's happened, but they've managed to hold on to him. Ricardo Pereira, Harvey Barnes, James Maddison and Wilfred Ndidi are all up there as 4-star players. When we look at the transfer value, Tielemans £82 million, with Ndidi £64 million. So there is some real value in this club should we want to move any players on. But who's the highest paid player? Jamie Vardy, there's no surprise there, 160k per week. So tactically then, how am I going to line up? So I'm going to line up with the Libero. So we're going to go with a 5-2-3. This is probably going to be my starting 11 as well. So we'll just have a look at it as the next 6 months. So Ward in goal. Soyuncu, Evans and Vestergaard at the back. With Thomas and Castagna out wide. Tielemans and Ndidi in the middle. With Maddison behind Vardy and Iheanacho. We've got plenty of options there. The bench is absolutely stacked with talent. Talent enough for me anyway to think that they shouldn't be sat at the bottom of the league. Competitions wise then, we've got the Premier League, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. And the expectation for this season is to finish in 8th place, so 50-1. So we've got no players in the media dream 11, which again doesn't surprise us. Patrick Vieira, Crystal Palace, Frank Lampard at Chelsea, Marco Silva at Everton, new managers in. Obviously, this is still going into last season, so it'll take a bit of time to catch up. But yeah, teams expect to be relegated as Bournemouth, Notts Forest and Brentford. Fulham expecting just to edge it 500-1. But ourselves, we've got a lot to do just to get into Europe. So finally then, looking at the schedule, we start off with games against Wolves, Everton, Arsenal, Manchester City and Southampton as our first 5 games. We need to hit the ground running there and really push on. But we'll come back anyway. Like I say, we'll come back in January where we'll begin our rebuild. Right then guys, so we're back on the 1st of January and the rebuild officially begins. Now we've set up quite nicely here as we're currently sat in 7th place, 31 points on the board. What I will say though, Jamie Vardy is having a party with 22 goals. He is tearing it up. What a player at 34-year-old. I know I called him a snake earlier on as he'd sold Brendon Rodgers out straight away. He was happy to see the back of him when I joined the club. But yeah, Vardy is tearing it up. When we have a look here, he's got 21 goals in 19 Premier League starts. That is incredible. But finances wise, what have I got to play with then? So we're now down to £9.2 million to spend for our January. There's definitely going to be some outgoings, as I certainly need a new goalkeeper, probably need another left back, and I would like another option up front as well. So yeah, 9.2 million isn't really going to cut it. And when we're talking about the squad and the squad depth, like I say, up front, could probably do with another striker up there. We've got Vardy, Daka, Iheanacho, that's it. Behind the striker, I'm happy with Maddison, Tielemans. Iheanacho can play there as well. Midfield, not a problem at all. Could do with another left back. I think, Albrighton's apparently the best player there, but I'm currently using Luke Thomas and James Justin. Out on the right back side, I've got Castagna and Pereira. Pereira's out injured. And then at the centre-back options, we've got Johnny Evans, Sionku, Ndidi, Vestergaard, Armate. But again, I need that libero kind player for the centre of me defence. And then naturally, we need another goalkeeper. Danny Ward, Everson and Smithies, the three goalkeepers there. So the goalkeeper is my priority at this moment in time. So yes, that is where we are. That is what we've got to do. Currently 7th in the league, which is a great starting point for us come January. But yes, I'll come back shortly when I've rebuilt this squad in the January transfer window. Right, so we're back at the end of the January transfer window, and I've only done a little bit of business. There's no real outgoings in the club, no interest from any clubs around the world, Europe, wherever. It's just not happening. But as it stands, 2.5 million still left in that transfer budget. Overall balance is £10 million, and I'm spending over the wage budget. So only one player has left us. Daniel Iverson has gone off to Southampton. He left for £3.5 million. Didn't do anything for us. He was third choice goalkeeper and decent money for him. So I've brought in two goalkeepers. I thought it was necessary to really strengthen that goalkeeping department. The first goalkeeper that I've brought in is Ivan Nevestich. Now, he has gone back off on loan to Dynamo, where we bought him for £2.5 million. Now, he's played 11 times this season, conceded 11 goals, 3 clean sheets, a 7.35 rating. Currently 6'5". He's a towering goalkeeper. Aerial reach 18, as you'd expect. That jump and reach of 18 as well. Currently valued 7.2 million. He's only a potential 3-star goalkeeper, but I've brought him in to be my second choice, and that's to be second choice to this guy. Ivo Grabic joins us from Atletico Madrid for £8 million. So he played 2 times this season, conceded 4 goals, a 6.2 rating, but he's a definite upgrade on what we've got already. Ward just isn't really cutting it, so Grabic joins us. 26-year-old, capped 4 times at under 21 level for Croatia. He's got a continental reputation, current ability 3-star, he's playing to his full potential as well. I think he's a very good goalkeeper. Command of area, 17, position and 16. I think he's only going to get better. He's still not hit his prime yet. He's first choice goalkeeper for us. And like I say, £8 million from Atletico Madrid is a decent deal for us. So tactics wise then, we remain the same. We're still playing that 3 at the back with 2 wing backs, 2 midfielders. Harvey Barnes now behind the striker with Vardy and Daka up front. Like I say, that libero, we didn't manage to bring anybody in. I just haven't got the funds to do that. So Sionku is going to take up that role with Evans and Armate out there. He's obviously got other options as well. Vestergaard potentially could drop into their outside as well. So we have got the options. We've got a decent squad depth. I'm really happy that we've sorted out that goalkeeping problem now, and I think we're ready to go. So what we've got then, when we look at the schedule as we carry on, we've had a shocking start to the season. From the end of August all the way through to the end of October, we'd only won 1 Premier League game, but then we've managed to turn it around. We've not had a great January. We currently find ourselves in 7th place. A 2-2 draw in the FA Cup third round with Newcastle. We then got smashed away at St James's Park 4-0. We did win Tottenham 1-0 in the middle of that, but we've just drawn 0-0 with Brentford. But it looks like we've got lots of winnable games in February, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to carry on moving forward with the improved goalkeeping option now in place, and hopefully we'll have European football at the start of next season. Right, so Season 1 is officially done, and after the anticlimax of that January transfer window, we've ended the season in 7th place, which means we've got European football next season. As you can see there, 38 games played, 59 points on the board, 0 goal difference, not ideal for us there, but we had 17 wins, 8 draws, 13 defeats, 64 scored, 64 conceded, 59 points on the board, 1 point clear of Everton, who finish in 8th place. But yeah, we've got Europa Conference League next season. I'm happy with that. I really am. I think that's a good way to go. We get our foot through the door in European competitions, and it's a competition that we can win as well. So past positions wise then, you know, at the midway point of the season in January we were sat in 7th, and we were there more or less all the way through from that point. We moved up to 6th and then back down, but sat in 7th from match day 26 all the way till the end of the season. Manchester City in the top 2 all the way through, with I would imagine Liverpool, yeah, bouncing about in between. So competitions-wise then, like I say, 7th place in the Premier League. In the FA Cup, we were knocked out in the 3rd round by Newcastle United. Absolutely smashed 4-0 in the replay. Then in the Carabao Cup, we were knocked out by Newcastle United as well, as we lose 2-1 there at St James's Park. So what about finances then? We've got just under £43 million to play with this season. Apparently we're now only getting 80% of transfer revenues. So let's just ask for more. Increased transfer revenue. So there we go. So we've got £55 million in the overall balance. Wage budget 2.4 million. We've got just over 100k to spend there should we want to as well. What about squad dynamics then? So team cohesion is good, club atmosphere is average, and managerial support is very good. I've got players that want to leave. Harvey Barnes wants to go. Siunku wants to leave, as he wants to go to a club with a stronger squad, can you believe it? Alex Smith is also wanting to leave. But when we look at the top influencers, I've got 13 players to support us, 13 players have no real opinion of us, and nobody opposes us. Social groups wise, only Gravic, who hasn't joined the core social group. So player stats wise then, Jamie Vardy scored 34 goals this season, incredible. 31 in the league in 35 appearances, 8 assists, 9 player of the match performances. It was definitely the Jamie Vardy party there, but I am interested to see how he performed in the league. Did he end up being top goal scorer? Now Erling Haaland with 34 goals in 35 appearances pips him to it. Cristiano Ronaldo got 22, Dominic Calvert-Lewin with 21. Highest average rating, like we've just discussed, was Jamie Vardy with a 7.46. Most assists was James Maddison with 10. Best pass completion was Daniel Armate with 97%. Most player of the match awards was Vardy with 10. And most yellow cards was Cassagna with 7. No red cards though, which is good. But let's have a look at the team stats. So we scored 64 goals, which is the 4th best. But we conceded 64, which is the 5th worst. Yellow cards wise, we scored 44, which is the 4th best. No red cards, and we had a 7th worst attendance in the league at just over 31,000. So for me, a decent season to get European football next season. Yes, it's the Europa Conference League, but it's one that we can win. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out into that summer transfer window, and we're going to spend all of the money. Right then, so we're back for Season 2, but as you can see from the league table, it's already underway. 2 games played, we find ourselves in 5th place. I've moved forward just a little bit just to get some more deals over the line. So let's have a look at the finances first of all. So financially then, we've got £4.8 million left in the transfer budget. As you can see there, the revenue is now up to 95%. The wage budget is 2.2 million and we're currently spending 2.2. So we're just under, literally just under, but I've absolutely ruined the overall balance. We're now minus £9 million in the red. Look at the state of it. We started off at £47 million in the black. So done a bit of damage there. So transfers wise, then the first player out the door was Danny Ward, and quite a random one that he's ended up with Fiorentina in the Serie A. He went off there for £3.7 million after last season playing 20 games for us and conceding 33 goals. Not a great start to life in Italy though, conceding 7 in 3 games. The next player to go then was Ryan Bertrand, and he's gone off to Celtic. At 33-year-old now, I could see him heading up north of the border anyway, and he's ended up at Celtic for 700k. Last season, we got him on a free transfer. He played 11 games for us, didn't really set the world alight with a 6.86 rating. No goals, no assists, but yeah, off to Celtic he goes. Then Palace Mendy went off to Bournemouth, so last season he was with us as well. 4 games he played, he was always on the fringes, so it was time to let him go. And he's gone off to the Sky Bet Championship for Bournemouth for £5.75 million. Ayoze Perez, now this guy could have had a little bit more to offer, but I thought the time was right to move him on. As you can see from his current ability, 2.5 star, and I was expecting him to be phased out of the squad. Yes, he did play 27 games last season with 5 goals and 2 assists, but he's gone to Watford for £8.25 million in the Premier League, where he's played 2 games and scored a goal. Now, a player with long service for Leicester City, Mark O'Brien, has gone off to La Liga to play for Valencia for £9.75 million. Not bad when we got him on a free transfer. Played 25 times his last season with 6 assists, but not a bad player overall, but 32-year-old now, so yeah, got decent money for him. Another to go was Yannick Vestergaard. He has also gone off to Sarriat to play for Sevilla. Good player, 30-year-old now, 29 caps for Denmark with 1 goal. Current ability, 2.5 star though, and I think it was time to move him on. Yes, we had him for the season. He played 13 times for us after we paid £14 million for him. So not a good deal for us there, but I needed to get his wages off the books. And an Ivo Gravic that joined us in the January transfer window when I needed to strengthen the goalkeeper department has left us already. He's gone to Olympiacos, but he's gone for £15 million after I spent £8 million in January, so I've nearly doubled my transfer income there. But yeah, he didn't have a great season for us, 18 games, 31 conceded, not good really. You know, we got absolutely battered conceding 31 goals, but we got some good money for him, and he's not a bad goalkeeper, and I wish him all the best. So I did need to strengthen that goalkeeping department then, and I brought in Andre Anana, Cameroonian with 32 caps, solid goalkeeper, current ability 3.5 star, potential ability 4 star, valued up to £31 million, and we spent £17 million getting him in. Now, he was at Inter last season where he only played 2 times conceding 3 goals, but he had played for Ajax where he'd had a decent career there before moving on, like I say, to Inter, and then we've taken a bit of a gamble bringing him to the Premier League, but I think definite upgrade in that goalkeeping department. Then I brought in a 29-year-old Kostas for Tunis. He joins us from, I want to say, Olympiacos. Actually, he does for £11 million. He's played 2 games for us already with 1 goal, 1 assist and 1 player of the match performance, so not a bad start for him. Dribbling 16, first touch 16, that passing technique 17, vision 17, a very, very good player with 16 flair as well. Wants to play behind a striker, and that's where we're going to have him. Edison Alvarez, who was a target for Manchester United in the last summer transfer window, now joins us from Ajax as well. So £25.5 million, 2 games for us already. Brought in as the libero, so he's going to play right in the centre there. You can see he's currently 3.5 star for it. Aggression and anticipation 16, 17. That passing of 13. Teamwork 16. Work rate 16 as well. Current ability 3.5 star. Playing to his full potential. But yeah, 21 games in the Eredivisie last season with 3 assists and 4 player of the match performances. But now valued for £36 million. Quality player for us with 63 caps for Mexico and 3 goals. Then Victor Nelson joins us, 11 caps for Denmark. He's got a worldwide reputation and a media description of a powerful centre-back. Now, he's currently valued at £34 million, currently playing to his full potential. Heading at mark and tackling, all good. That heading at 13 could be a little bit better. But overall, technically, you know, don't ask him to take a corner or finish for you. It's just not going to happen. But we bought him for £14 million from Galatasaray after they spent £6 million on him. So they've got a handy little profit there. Played 32 times for them last season with 2 goals and 2 assists, a 7.38 rating. Played 2 games for us already. Then I went out on a limb and I brought in Petar Musa. Now, 24-year-old Croat is a fringe player. He's got a continental reputation now. Current ability 2.5 star, potential ability 3 star. I've had this guy on the Boavista rebuild that I've done. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. But he was a real quality player for us. And when I seen his name appear, I thought, you know, why not? So at Benfica last season, he actually scored 12 goals in 22 appearances, which isn't bad going on. He's played 1 time for us already, and he scored a goal. So not a bad start to life in the Premier League. Bought him for £3.4 million. I think that's a great deal. Currently valued up to £6.6 million. With that finishing 16, composure 12, balance 17, strength 16, he'll do some damage for us. You know, he's quick as well with 14 acceleration and pace. And while we've got a lot of games with 2 domestic cup competitions and European football as well, I think it was the right call to get him in. And then finally, another centre-back, the 22-year-old French under-21 international, Oumar Soleil. Now, a really, really good player that we brought in for £17 million from RB Salzburg in Austria, where he's already played 3 times for them this season with 1 goal and 1 assist, a 7.8 rating, but he's a really, really good player. Heading 14, marking 15, tackling 13, that jumper inch 17, 6'4", a 22-year-old. He's got plenty more development to be doing. Currently valued up to £63 million and potential ability 4 star, with his current ability 3.5 star. So overall then, obviously there's plenty more players leaving on small transfers and free transfers. We spent a total of £88 million, but we've brought in £53 million. So not a bad transfer window after all. Squad dynamics wise then, team cohesion's good, club atmosphere is very good, and so is managerial support. Top influencers wise then, I've now got 12 players to support us, 14 players that have no real opinion of it. I'm sure it was 13 and 13 last time round. The only bit that I'm worrying about is Seunku's contract ends at the end of this season, and he doesn't want to stay with us. He wants to leave. Atletico Madrid coming with like a £13 million offer. He's currently valued up to £30 million. I want at least £50 million for him. I'll try and offer him a new contract now, so offer a new contract, not interested. So hopefully, once the transfer window's closed, I can get him to sign a new contract. So tactics-wise then, this is how we're going to line up with Anana in goal, Siunku, Alvarez and Nelson at the back, with Justin and Castagna out wide, Fortunis and Tillemans in the middle, with Maddison behind, Iniacho and Vardy. We've got a really, really good team with even more depth than we had last time. I think we've sorted out in all the right areas. Yes, at left back, we're still not as good as we want to be, but we've also got Luke Thomas who can play out there as well, and he's highly regarded, potential ability 5-star, so we put him in there as well, and he'll do the business. Out on the other side, we've got Pereira there as well, who can also replace Castagna. We've got a really, really good team. We've got Daka who can play up front. We've got Fortunis who can go behind the striker. We've also got Harvey Barnes that hasn't really featured yet as well, who could drop into there. So very happy with how my team's going. We're still playing our tick-attacker on a positive mentality. In competitions-wise then, we've obviously got the Premier League, the Europa Conference League, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. What's the expectation now? So we're expected an 8th place finish, 50-1, which isn't bad at all. We've got no players in the Media Dream 11, but that doesn't surprise us. Promoted teams last season was Blackburn, Watford and Norwich. Teams expected to go down, Blackburn, Fulham and Brentford. Brighton down at 400-1 in 17th as well, wow. But yeah, let's have a look finally at the schedule. So we've already had games, like I say, 2-0 victory over Blackburn, 2-0 against Fleetwood in the Carabao Cup, and then we had a 2-1 victory over Brighton. We've got our Europa Conference League qualifying games against Cole from Germany, and we've got Everton, Norwich, Liverpool, Tottenham, Brentford, West Ham as my first lot of games up until the end of September. But we've had a decent start to the season. I'm happy with how we strengthened, and hopefully that transpires into another European finish at the end of this season. Right then guys, end of season 2 and we are in Europe once again with a 6th place finish, 38 games played, plus 14 goal difference, 68 points on the board. We actually finish 5 points clear of Tottenham in 7th. That space though between Tottenham and Southampton is absolutely massive between 7th and 8th. Liverpool ending up winning the league. When we look at it here, Liverpool win the league with 92 points on the board, 2 points clear of Manchester United. City there in 3rd place, but ourselves we played 38, won 21, drew 5, lost 12, mass amount of defeats this season. 60 goals scored, 46 conceded, plus 14 goal difference, so certainly better than last season, and 68 points on the board. Like I say, we're 4 points outside of those Champions League places. However, it looks like 5th place Arsenal got a Champions League place instead. However, we will get Europa League football next season. So looking at the past positions then, yeah, we were up at 1st up until match day 7th, and then we've dropped down into 7th place where we've basically minced about all the way through, finishing in 6th place towards the back end of the season. Competitions wise then, we've actually won the Europa Conference League on penalties actually after a 1-1 draw with Nantes. They had 13 shots, 4 on target. We absolutely bossed it. 24 shots, 8 on target. Only managed 44% possession. However, we win on penalties. We scored all of ours, actually, all 5 converted. Themselves missing the 1, 5-4. We end up lifting our first bit of silverware within the 2nd season. In the FA Cup though, Newcastle United have done us again. In the quarter-final this time round, we lost 3-2 in extra time. Alexander Isaac with a goal on 94 minutes. They were the better side there by the look of it as well. And then in the Carabao Cup, we were knocked out in the 4th round by Tottenham on penalties. So, yeah, those domestic cup competitions, we could do better. What about finances then for this coming season? So this overall balance worries me. The end of the season, this is where we should be at our best. And we're currently minus £14 million in debt. Transfer budget looks fantastic. £55 million for next season. Wage budget-wise, we've got 200k to spend should we want to. But yeah, the overall balance is concerning. What about squad dynamics then? So team cohesion is excellent, club atmosphere is very good, and so is managerial support. Just Dewsbury Hall that wants to go out on loan to secure a permanent move. We may let him go now, he's cracking on, and he's 24-year-old. You know, he's not a youth anymore. How did he get on this season? He played 4 times for us, only 6 the season before that as well. We may look at moving him on. But what about team leaders then? I've got 20 players to support us, 3 players that have no real opinion of us. No influential players, bizarrely. Most players highly influential. What about the social groups? Everybody in the core social group as well, which is fantastic. So what about player stats then? Jamie Vardy again, top goal scorer with 30 goals this season. How many in the league? 22 goals in 28 appearances in the league. We might as well just have a look to see Erling Haaland tearing it up again. Erling Haaland, there you go, 30 appearances, 35 goals. Cristiano Ronaldo up to 26 goals this season. I think it's a similar set of names to as it was last season as well, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin on there with 22. Harry Kane only getting 18, quite disappointing for him. Highest average rating then was Jamie Vardy with a 7.29. Most assists was Maddison and Justin with 12 apiece. Best pass completion was Johnny Evans with 96%. Most player of the match awards was Jamie Vardy with 8. Most yellow cards was Luke Thomas with 9, but we had no red cards yet again. And when we look at those team stats, 60 goals, which is the 5th best. 46 conceded, which is the 8th best. So all that money we spent sorting out the defence, fantastic to get 8th. Yellow cards wise, 46, which is the 3rd best, and no red cards. Still 7th worst attendance, so at 31,000. So what a season. We continue to climb. Yes, it's only by space, but we've won the Europa Conference League this season, and we've got the full Europa League next season. We just need to work on now doing better in those domestic cups and challenging for those top 4 places. Right, season 3 then, guys, and we're ready to go. We take on Manchester United on the first game of the season. Erik ten Hag's Manchester United at Old Trafford. A massive game coming up. However, let's get to the good stuff, eh? So finances, look at the state of it. We've got £5,000 left in the bank. Now, I've gone all out with wages as well. We're spending 100k over the wages. We're already minus £18 million in the red, you know. I've gambled with our financial security here with the hope that we get into the Champions League this season. And if I'm honest, I am very happy with the transfers that we've made. So leaving the club then, the first player out was Ricardo Pereira. Now, he spent a lot of time injured for us, and you can see there, he's injured again. So he's gone back to Spartak Moscow, where he's out for 7 weeks to 3 months with a torn hamstring. So we've offloaded a dud there. He's a real quality player, but he just didn't do it for us. Last season he played 27 times and got a 6.5 average rating, so we sold him to Spartak Moscow for 14.5 million. Like I say, injury prone, so yeah, definitely offloaded a problem there. Dennis Praet has gone off to Sporting Lisbon for 13.5 million. We've made a little bit of a loss on him. Didn't feature too much. More game time last season, 16 games there, but we did have more competitions as well. So he's played more games in the Premier League. But yeah, Dennis Praet, 29-year-old, still a very good option for us, but we just needed the money. And then Kieran Dewsbury-Hall goes to Norwich. So staying in the Premier League, we actually got fairly decent money for him. £11.5 million. He only played 4 games his last season, 6 before that. Decent midfielder. But yeah, good money for a player that hasn't really featured. So joining us then, the first player through the door was the Ukrainian Viktor Kononenko, 24-year-old left wing back. Good player, acceleration and pace both 15, crossing and dribbling 13 and 12. This is the one player that I will say just ignore those stars, because I think he's better than what his stars are giving off. Currently valued at 19.5 million. We brought him in for 16.5. Played 22 games in the Ukrainian Premier League last season, where he scored 2 goals, 3 assists, a 7.39 rating, but a very good option. On par with Luke Thomas, I would say, but a good squad depth option when we've got plenty of games this season. Then we brought in a wonder kid of the past, Aurelien Tchouameni. So he joins us from Real Madrid for £24 million. Only played 8 times for him last season. Wasn't a starter. He wanted first team football. He wanted to be in the starting 11, and that's where he's going to be. Current ability 3-star, potential ability 4-star, 23-year-old. Sits in the centre of the midfield. He's a ball-winning midfielder. We're going to play him there or as a box-to-box, dependent on how it falls. But yeah, tackling 16, work rate 16, that determination 16 as well. Physically very, very good. 6'2", an absolute colossus in the midfield. Then at the back, the 28-year-old Brazilian Lucas Verissimo joins us from Benfica. £31 million. Big money that for a centre-back who's what now did I say? 28 years old? 28 years old. However, those technicals, heading 15, marking 16, tackling 15, mentally really good. He hasn't really got the acceleration off the mark at 13, however that pace is 15. But like I said, joins us from Benfica, where he played 19 games last season, 1 goal, 2 assists, a 7.39 rating. And then finally, Brenner has joined us. Look at the state of this guy's attributes. Dribbling, finishing and first touch, all 16. Acceleration 16, pace 15, stamina 16. He joins us for 33.5 million from Bayern Munich, where he scored 8 goals in 12 games last season. I know they spent 17.75 million for him, but I think they've given him away. This is a 60 to 70 million pound player all day long. He's currently valued at 61 million pounds. But yeah, this guy's going to get goals for this. He's already got 3 goals in 2 starts. One transfer that I didn't mention that actually happened in January was Siunku. He's gone to Leipzig for 15.25 million. We had to give him away. He was in the last 6 months of his contract, and I'm really surprised actually that I got some money for him. However, apparently he's valued £33 million, so there may be an opportunity in a season or 2 to bring him back. So squad dynamics wise then, team cohesion and manager support is both very good. Club atmosphere is excellent. I've rejected an offer for Tielemans, want to join Arsenal. I've said I won't let him go for £80 million. We had a £70 million offer, but I'm still not going to let him go for that. It's £80 million or nothing. And then I've got 10 players and supporters, 13 players that have no real opinion of us. Obviously, there's been a high bit of turnover again. And because of that, I've now got 4 social groups. So what about tactics-wise then? So we're still sticking with the libero, the 5-2-3, and this is how we're going to line up. So Onana in goal, Verissimo, Alvarez and Solé at the back, with Thomas and Castagna out wide, Tielemans and Schuemi in the middle, with Maddison, Vardy and Brenner up front. And then competitions-wise, then obviously we got the Europa League now, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. I'd like to get to the latter stages of the Euro Cup. Actually, what's the club vision for that? What's the expectation? You can see there, I'm struggling to stay within the wage budget. But they're expecting a quarter-final as a bare minimum. Top half finish still for the Premier League though, and quarter-finals in every cup competition, so no real drama or pressure on us. So what's the expectation in the Premier League then? I think it's an 8th place finish again, as it has been all the way through, I believe. I'm sure the first 2 seasons were an 8th place finish, and it's the same again. Manchester City favourites to win the league this season, but Bournemouth and Crystal Palace expected to go down. What was the biggest deal of the transfer window? Serge Gnabry going from Bayern Munich to Manchester City for £71 million. Marco Cucurella has gone to Inter Milan for £59 million. And there you can see Newcastle spending some money. Alex Sale makes a £58 million. Salah and Haaland still the men up front. And a full sweep Man City midfield there in the Media Dream 11. So the first 5 games of the season in the Premier League are Manchester United, Newcastle, Southampton, Burnley and Fulham. If we can get past Man U and Newcastle, then I think we'll be fine. And we'll really, like, the aim is to be pushing on for a top 4 finish this season. It's got to be, I've taken a gamble with finances. It's got to pay off. Champions League revenue is what we're after. So what we're going to do is we'll move forward to the end of season 3 where hopefully, that gamble pays off. Right then, season 3 down and we finished with a 6th place finish. We didn't get Champions League football this season. 59 points on the board. We can see there though, 0 goal difference. We've had an absolute shocker again with 54 conceded and 54 scored. 59 points on the board. Like I say, we're 10 points behind Manchester United, who finish in 4th place. But they've got Champions League football. Manchester United back into the top 4. When we look at it there, then, like I say, 6th place finish with 17 wins, 8 draws, 13 defeats, 54 scored, 54 conceded, no goal difference, 59 points on the board. That form towards the back end of the season isn't good at all. When we look at the past positions and how did we get on throughout, so we actually were up as high as 2nd place before, we were still in the top 4 up until match day 29 where we just fell out of favour, but we still got European football next season nonetheless. So competitions-wise, we have won the Europa League 1-0 against Chelsea in the final. Have that for Fana. Andy played as well. Andy was subbed off. When did he go off? On the 83rd minute. There you go. We ended up winning 1-0. Brenner with the goal. We had 8 shots, 4 on target. He had 15 and 4. We only managed 47% of the possession. Who cares? We win 1-0 and we've got the Europa League, which means we get Champions League football next season. Did I miss that? Champions League football for us there next season. That'll be massive for our finances. English FA Cup, they're knocked out in the 5th round by Everton. Not happy about that. Penalty defeat as well. But I've just seen that we won the Carabao Cup as well. 3-2 in the final at Wembley against Manchester United, where we have 11 shots, 7 on target, 52% possession. Brenner with a goal on 10, Iniacho on 48. And Fortunis with a goal on 84 minutes, getting us the win. And another bit of silverware. So what's that done to finances then? £65 million in the transfer budget, but only 75% of transfer revenue is being made available. Wage budget's up to £2.1 million. We're currently 100k under that again. Overall balance out minus £2 million. Debt and loans, how's it looking? Not great, I'm going to be honest. Dynamics-wise then, Team Cohesion's very good, club atmosphere is good, and so is my geo support. I've got players that want to leave. Patson Daka, who's wanting to go. How did he get on this season? So he hasn't played too many games. 17 games with 2 goals. What's he valued at? £63 million. It might be time to move Daka on now. That's good money for him, yeah, but we are only getting 75%, so we're going to need to sell for big money. Top influencers wise then, I've got 5 players as supporters. Wow, we've just won 2 cups this season. And I've only got 5 player supporters. 16 players have no real opinion of us. Nobody opposes me though, which is good. Transfers wise, a couple to talk about. So Wilfred Ndidi went to Chelsea in January. Currently valued up to £54 million. He was going to leave us on a free transfer and I got £31 million for him. So I'm very happy with that. And Daniel Amate was also going to be out of contract in the summer, so he managed to get £11.25 million for him when he went off to Daniel Kiev in Ukraine. 6 appearances for him, 1 assist, 1 player of the match performance. So looking at the play stats then, Brenner got 42 goals this season. What a boy. 20 goals in the league in 29 appearances, 1 assist, 4 player of the match performances. He got 14 goals in 12 Europa League games, scenes, and 8 goals in 9 games in the Cup. Obviously, with that kind of goal tally, he also had the highest average rating with a 7.36. Most assists was for Tunis with 11. Best pass completion was Saleh with 96%. Most player of the match awards, Brenner with 10. And most yellow cards was Nelson with 10 yellow cards and 0 red cards this season. Fantastic. So let's have a look at those team stats. You know, we've seen the goals already. 54 scored and 54 conceded. 40 yellow cards, which is the third best. And 1 red card, which is the third best in all competitions. Very happy with how that season's gone, in fairness. After seeing that 6th place finish, I thought Champions League was out of our grasp again. But we've managed to do it. Finances-wise, £65 million to spend is absolutely massive as we go into another big transfer window for the club. So yes, what we're going to do is we're going to move forward into Season 4. Champions League football now coming to the King Power Stadium. Let's see how we perform when we've recruited again in the summer. Right then guys, Season 4 and it's already started with a bit of silverware as we ended up winning 1-0 against Real Madrid in the Euro Super Cup. Victor Nelson with a goal on 67 minutes, a fairly even game. We had 11 shots, 3 on target, they had 14 in 5. We only managed 46% possession. Doesn't matter, we start off this season with a bit of silverware like I say, and who knows, you know, that could be the catalyst to push on this season. And I certainly hope that's the case as finances are still absolutely battered. Minus £10 million in the overall balance. Transfer budget 150k. My wage budget is just under £2 million and I'm currently spending £2.25 million. So not ideal. So players leaving us then, Bubakar Samare has gone off to Zenit St. Petersburg in Russia. We took him on for 19.75 million from Lille. He was a bit part player, definitely one of my squad depth options, and we've let him go to Zenit St. Petersburg for £13.5 million. So Kostas Fortounis, a player that we bought a couple of seasons ago, has gone off to Anderlecht in Belgium. The attacking central midfielder, he was decent for us in fairness. He didn't get too many goals. 27 games last season, 1 goal, 5 assists. We let him go for £18 million and we've made a £7 million profit on him. And then with a heavy heart, the last player to go is Petar Musa. He has gone off to Norwich. So he's now playing in the Sky Bet Championship. We bought him in for £3.4 million. We sold him for £5 million. We made a bit of money on him. First season he played for us, he scored 4 goals in 10 appearances. Last season, didn't get a goal. 4 games in the league, 1 assist. So joining us then, the first player through the door was the 28-year-old French international Anthony Martial. £18.5 million is currently valued at. Star-wise, 2.5 star. We're currently paying him 48k per week though. That's incredible. I think he was on £250,000 at Manchester United and we've got him on a free transfer. Hasn't played a game in 2 seasons. You know, he's really been phased out of the squad. But Anthony Martial, he can play out in the wide areas and up front. I still think he's got enough to offer, so we brought him in for free. Another player through the door then was the 24-year-old Frenchman Pierre Kalulu. Really good player for me. I've had him before on previous rebuilds. Now he's at Milan where they took him from Lyon for 425k. Made a tidy profit on him and we bought him for £6 million. Played 26 games last season. 1 assist, 1 player of the match performance. But can play centrally or out on that right back position. Current ability 2.5 star, potential ability 3 star. 70k per week, a lot of money. But a 24-year-old, he's still got plenty of time to develop. Then we brought in another 24-year-old Frenchman, Yassine Adli joins us. Now he can play in the centre of midfield, also behind the striker. A well-rounded player with a current ability of 3 star, and we brought him in for £11 million from Milan where he played 19 games in the Serie A last season. Like I say, he can play behind the striker as well. Our first was 17, long shots 13, passing 16 and technique 16. He'll do bits for us, I'm sure. And I'm sure you're wondering where all of our money went. Well, we managed to bring in the elite midfielder, 25-year-old Declan Rice. 44 caps for England now. Look at those mentals. What a player. Plays as a defensive mid. Can also play as a defensive centre and obviously in the midfield as well. Current ability 4 star, potential ability 4.5 star. 130k per week. That is what we signed him on. But his current transfer value is £135 million. Now, we spent £70 million bringing him to the club. And it was needed. Defensively, we have been shocking over the last couple of seasons. We have been leaking goals. And it's about time we shored that up. And we did that with a 1-0 victory over Real Madrid. So dynamics-wise, how we're looking this season, very good across the board. Ivan Nevesic wants to leave. It's not happening. He's our substitute goalkeeper. And I'm sure he'll see some game time this season. I've now got 10 players as supporters. And 14 players have no real opinion of us. So competitions-wise then, Premier League, Champions League this season as well, absolutely massive for the club, FA Cup and Carabao Cup. But what is the expectation this season in the league? Season preview-wise, 8th place finish again. I think all 4 seasons we've been predicted an 8th place finish, not ideal. And with the money spent, we've still not got a player in that media dream 11, which is disappointing. Finally then, schedule-wise, you start off with games against Tottenham, Aston Villa, Man United, Wolves and Arsenal. But I've got a big announcement for you. Jamie Vardy is now retired at the grand old age of 37, but we've kept him on. He's now an under-18s coach with that working with youngsters 11. He's currently out trying to get better qualifications and upgrade his licence. But yeah, Jamie Vardy, now retired. What a player he was for us. Last season, 4 goals in 34 appearances. He really dropped off and he thought it was time to hang up his boots. So yeah, Jamie Vardy. So with that in mind then, we have got the Champions League campaign this season and I'm excited with the way the squad has developed over the summer. So hopefully we've got enough to get out of that Champions League group. You know, the impact that's going to have on our finances is going to be absolutely massive. So fingers crossed, let's sim forward 12 months and hopefully more silverware and we've sorted out this financial turmoil we're in. Right then guys, so it's the end of season 4 and it's all going on. As you can see now, a consortium targets Leicester takeover. £750 million takeover bid according to Sky Sports. The Porto-based consortium intends to invest £70 million into the club, and Leicester City board have placed an embargo upon transfers as a result of that. Shouldn't really matter. We're now on the 31st of May. I don't normally start my transfer business until the 1st of July anyway, so by that point, hopefully, I say hopefully, fingers crossed, the takeover is done and we can just move on and get on with our business. However, even bigger news. We are in the Champions League final against Chelsea in Munich. I don't know how this has happened. We've been absolutely phenomenal in Europe. Not so good in the league, but in Europe, when we were in that Europa Conference League and the Europa League proper, we won both of them on the first time of Aston. We now find ourselves in the Champions League. 3 seasons on the bounce, we've been in a European Cup final. Regardless of what competition that is, we've still been able to get there. So we play against Chelsea tonight. So when we have a quick look at how we got there, you know, we started off with a 3-1 defeat against Bayern Munich. When we look at Group B, we ended up getting out of there in second. RB Salzburg, however, should have done better, only getting 1 point. We then had a 7-4 victory over PSG in the knockout stages before coming up against Real Madrid, where we ended up winning 3-1 at the Bernabeu. Declan Rice with goals on 70 and 72, getting us the win there. Then Bayern Munich, we ended up going through on penalties, 8-7 on penalties, and we missed some as well. Brenner and Daka missing penalties, Muller, Leo and Upamecano missing penalties for them. You know, they absolutely battered us. 32 shots, 14 on target. Onana with a player of the match performance, 9.3. And now, like I say, we find ourselves going up against Chelsea. So what we're going to do is we are going to sim forward for one day and hopefully, you know, against all odds, we end up winning the Champions League because the league looks out of our hands now. It really does. As Courtois signs a new deal there for Real Madrid. But come on, it's taking its time. As Arsenal look to extend TOMAHAWK's contract as well, it's still going on. Let's have a gander then. So looking at the competitions, we were the runner-up. That's not ideal for us. 2-1 actually. Chelsea end up being European champions again. Mason Mount with a goal on 13. Rensa with a goal on 59. Verasimo, we were shocking. 3 shots, 2 on target. 41% possession. They had our number. And we end up losing out on the Champions League this season. However then, we will just move on. So we get to the league. We finished in 3rd place. We have got Champions League football again next season, as you can see. 75 points on the board. Manchester City, though, they are going to take some catching. Erling Haaland is absolutely tearing it up. This guy, 44 goals in the league, 55 in all competitions. You know, how do you compete with that? He's valued up to £292 million. He's injured. He needs to be injured for 12 months, if I'm honest, for us to have any chance at all. So looking at the league table overall then, 38 games played, 24 wins, 3 draws, 11 defeats. Still too many defeats. 69 goals scored, 47 conceded, plus 22 goal difference, 75 points. Our form towards the back end of the season was incredible. But what about past positions wise then? So as we see there, up until match day 34, the final 4 games seen us climb from 8th to 3rd. That is massive for the club. Leeds United up there in 5th as well. And they were in the top 2 for the majority of the season before falling out of favour. I'm assuming Liverpool then, similar to ourselves, just climbed towards the back end. So competitions-wise overall, so the Premier League we've just discussed, third place finish. We've got the Club World Cup Championship starting in 14 days. There we go. We've got an opportunity to be the best club in the world. It's very unlikely, but we've got an opportunity. You've got to be in it to win it, I suppose. Obviously, we lost in the final to Chelsea in the Champions League. We won the Super Cup. In the FA Cup, we were knocked out in the fourth round by Leeds United. We were knocked out in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup by Chelsea, so we didn't get our opportunity to retain that cup. Squad dynamics wise then, team cohesion is very good, club atmosphere is good, and margin support is average. I've got players that want better time. Paston Daka still wanting to leave. He scored 13 goals in 13 starts for us, still played 23 games this season. We looked at moving him on in the last transfer window. I don't think that's going to be the case this year though. As when we look at my overall support, then I've got 5 players as supporters, 18 players I have no real opinion of us, and Martial isn't a fan. Why? No particular reason. He's just not happy with me at all. So yes, I've got 1 player that opposes us, and that is Martial. Not ideal. So look at the player stats then. Iniacho got 19 goals this season. Highest average rating was Luke Thomas with a 7.34. Most assists was Luke Thomas with 16. Best pass completion was Verasimo with 98%. That is good going. Most player of the match awards was James Maddison with 7. Most yellow cards was Victor Nelson. And most red cards was Lucas Verasimo with 1. Then when we look at the team stats, so team stats wise then, 69 goals scored, which is the 5th best. 47 conceded, which is a massive improvement, which is the 7th best. Yellow cards wise, 59, which is the 5th best. And no red cards in the league, which is good. Average attendance, 9th worst. So yeah. So we've got 1 more season to go in. So looking at the finances, as it stands, obviously there's a transfer embargo on. I've got £71 million to play with in this transfer window. 75% of transfer revenue is being made available. Wage budget-wise, 2.3 million. Currently spending 2.2, so I get 100k extra there. Overall balance though, 26 million in the black. So we've got it all to go for in this final season. We've got to go all or nothing. Now, basically I have anyway. I've been quite reckless with the funds. Over the last couple of seasons, I have gambled, and I could have completely ruined the club. It's paid off, don't get me wrong. A top 4 finish and the Champions League final, not bad going at all. You know, we were 90 minutes away from winning that, and it just wasn't meant to be. So yeah, 1 more season to go. Can we win the league? Can we win the Champions League? Who knows? Let's give it a go. Right then, so we're back for the final season, season 5, and in the last couple of seasons, like I said before the break, I have risked financial ruin of the club by going all out. And I had the opportunity again this summer to do that. And yes, whilst it's the final season, we did get to the final of the Champions League last season. And we finished in 2nd place, and we were going to go all out for it. I didn't think risking our financial security would be the way to go. So when we look at the finances, I've still got £15 million in the transfer budget. 90% of transfer revenue is being made available. And my wage would be at £2.7 million. Now, we had the takeover. The takeover has gone through. I got the 70 million. You've seen that before the takeover had actually happened anyway. The current board had matched that. The previous board had matched what the current board were going to give us. But within that takeover, they made a promise to buy 2 players. And we'll talk through who those 2 players are first. So Noni Madueke joins us, 23-year-old English under-24 international quality player. I've had him on rebuilds before, really, really good. Currently valued up to 88 million. Plays in those wide areas, can also play behind the striker should we need him, but he's going to play in those wide areas. We bought him for £62 million from PSV, where he played 14 times last season in the Eredivisie, getting 5 goals and a 7.01 rating. But yeah, decent player. It didn't actually come out of our transfer budget, this deal, and we had 1 more as well. Benoit Badashahil joins us, 24-year-old Frenchman, also capped at under-21 level. Centre-back, very strong left-footed, physically incredible. Technically could be better, but where you'd want those high attributes in heading, marking, tackling and strength are all there. Currently valued at 68 million, playing to his full potential, which is 3.5 star. We bought him for 56 million from Monaco, where he played 32 times last season in Ligue 1. 7.32 rating last season. He's well over 7%. He's well over a 7 rating every season, so a solid performer. So players leaving us then. The first player to go, and I'm quite disappointed about this, is Ivan Nevesic. Now he leaves on a free transfer. He's gone to Besiktas, played 2 times for his last season, conceding 3 goals. But I thought he was a decent deputy, solid goalkeeper. But yeah, didn't want to renew his contract, didn't want to play a second fiddle, so we've let him go. Timothy Castagne has gone to Barcelona for 24.5 million. That's an incredible deal for us. You know, we bought him for 20.5 million now 5 seasons ago, but he's been a solid performer for us. Best season of his career with us at a 7.01 last season, but 24.5 million for him. Now 29-year-old, time to move him on. Anthony Martial, a player that we got on free transfer last season, has gone to Spartak Moscow for 21.5 million. A very good deal for the start. Free transfer, like I say, from Manchester United. He played 18 times, 2 goals for us. But Anthony Martial has gone off to Spartak Moscow in Russia. And then another player to go was Yassine Adli. Now, the reason that I've let Adli go, attributes-wise, looks incredible, and something that I didn't really look at when I bought him. You know, defensively, we have been awful. So, my 2 central midfielders, I expect to work really hard. And then we see he's got a marking of 3. What is that? What was I thinking? Tackling of 6. Not defensively minded, anyway, for a central midfielder. Not ideal at all. So, yeah, he's gone for £14 million to Roma after we took him on for £11 million. Got a 6.9 rating, 5 assists, 34 games last season. But, yeah, £14 million, Adli's gone to Roma. So joining us then, the first player through the door is Joe Bursick. This is FM22's version of Jack Butland. Here he is in all his glory. Joins us second string from Stoke for 6.25 million when he was more or less ever present throughout his career at Stoke from 2021 onwards. Last season he got a 7.14 rating, 46 games, 43 conceded, 14 clean sheets. Not bad going for the guy. Puck him up fairly cheap, but yeah, comes in as our backup goalkeeper. The next player through the door then is a 22-year-old Raul Morro, who can play out both left and right. Fairly strong left foot, very strong right foot. Acceleration 16, pace 16. That dribbling and first touch also 16. Plenty of quality attributes here. Valued up to £93 million. And I would expect this guy to get some full international cash for Spain. Current ability 3-star, potential ability 4-star. And I brought him for £48 million from Lazio, where he played 33 times, 4 goals, 5 assists last season. And then finally, I've spent a bit of money on a 30-year-old, soon to turn 31 in fairness, in the 1st of November. James Ward-Prowse, dead ball specialist. I'm going to play him a bit deeper in that defensive midfield role, and I'm just going to let him ping the ball about. Yes, mark and 9, when I've just spoke about Adli, might not be the right thing to do, but for me, he's going to be my playmaker. He's going to knock the ball about, get me plenty of assists. Currently valued £42 million. He's a world-class midfielder, and I bought him for £38.5 million, where he actually played 28 games in the Championship for Southampton, so they've got some decent money for him. So tactically then, we're going to line up with the 4-3-3 again. I don't actually think I spoke about this last season. I don't think I went through the tactic, but we did change to the 4-3-3. I did want to go with the wide men, with the anchors. Considering we'd spent all that money on Declan Rice, I thought it was the way to go. So as you can see here, this is what's going to be my 11. So Onana, Thomas, Balashahil, Solé and Kalou, with Rice, Tillemans and Tushemi in the middle. Madison and Madueke and Brenner up front. Now, the amount of options here, you know, I can drop Ward-Prowse into there. I've got Morrow, who can play out on that slide. We've got so many options. Verissimo, he can play at the back. We've got Daka, who can go on up front. So many options, so versatile, so many changes. We've definitely got enough about us this time to compete on all fronts. So squad dynamics wise then, very good across the board. I've got 2 players that want to leave. Pats and Daka wanted to go to PSV. And then he rejected their contract. I accepted the offer. He may go before the end of the transfer window, as you can see here. His contract expires at the end of next season. I'd rather get 20 odd million for him than lose him for nothing. We made that mistake with Siunku, where I had to give him away basically for, I think, if I recall, about £16 million. So yeah, if the opportunity arises before the transfer window closes, Daka will be leaving. So I've got 12 players supporters, 11 players have no real opinion of us, and now Martial's gone, no players opposers. So competitions wise then, we've got the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup opportunity here. What I will say is I did actually forget. We were knocked out in the quarter-final 3-1 by Manchester City in the Club World Cup Championship. Out of all the teams we could have come up against then, Manchester City, you know, arch rivals or nemesis, I would say, in this league. Everybody, you've just got to be better than Manchester City. You ended up winning this, by the way. Watch it be City as well. Actually, Barcelona were on penalties against City, so there's a surprise. But yes, those domestic cups we've got to go for again. What about the season expectation then? So season preview-wise, we're expected a 6th place finish. Look at the state of that. 8 out of 11 players all coming from Manchester City. Teams promoted this season, Hull, Norwich and Southampton back in the Premier League. But yeah, lots to do this time around. What was the biggest transfer fee of the summer? Weston McKennie going from Juve to Manchester United. For me, I think Spurs have got the best team in the league. When you look at their team, Szczesny, Bijlow in there as well. You know, Christian Romero, Bastoni, Milenkovic, Lamptey, Joe Gomez. We've got Brian Gill obviously still there. Rafael Guerrero. When you start to get up front, let's just have a look tactically. It might be easier for us. That team is quality. Lamar's there as well. I bet they got him for next to nothing. From Verona, 28.5 million. So, yeah. Tottenham, I think, are a team to watch out for. Potential dark horse, as they are every season. And schedule-wise, then we start off with games against Hull. Nice place to start. Then Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, Norwich and Chelsea. Some winnable games then. Liverpool and Chelsea, you know, if we can get past them early doors, pick some points up, I think we've got a decent chance of top 4 again. So yes, what we're going to do then is we're going to move forward for the final season, where it's all about, like, you know, dethroning Manchester City. Yeah, that looks impossible to me. We've had a decent pre-season. Let's see what we can do. So that's it, guys, the end of Season 5. But one thing to look at, first of all, we have won the league. 85 points on the board, but forget about that. Let's not celebrate that yet. As for 2 seasons on the bounce, we've ended up in a Champions League final where we take on Real Madrid today at the Bernabeu as well. They're at home. Carlo Ancelotti still the man in charge there. So what we're going to do is, as we've done before, we'll go on holiday for 1 day, simulate, move forward, see what happens. Obviously, the tactic is locked in. I haven't locked the team in for rotation, and we'll see what happens. So looking at the competitions-wise then, we're runners-up. Oh, we've ended with a runners-up 3-2 there to Real Madrid. Kylian Mbappe with a hat-trick. Victor Nelson with a 94th minute goal. Still doesn't do enough for us. So back-to-back Champions League final defeats. However, that's not what we were going for. We were going for that league title, and we've got it there. 38 games played, 25 wins, 10 draws, 3 defeats, 70 goals scored, 23 conceded. Look at that. What a change that is. Plus 47 goal difference, 85 points on the board. But teams like Manchester City finished in 5th place with 75 points. When we look at it last season, 92 points won the league. The season before that, 90. You know, there's not a season that's the lowest points tally, and it's ended up winning us it. So we have been lucky, I would say. We didn't reach the dizzying heights of 90 points, which it's taken every other season. But who cares? So it's well deserved when we look at the past positions. You know, we've basically been in the top 2 since match day 9, and we've been in top spots since match day 23. Liverpool have been chasing us. Tottenham in 3rd place. I told you they were a team to watch. I'm quite surprised they didn't challenge us more heavier. But then West Ham United, they were up there as well in 2nd place for quite a chunk of the season before tailing off in the last 4 games. So competitions-wise, it's a clean sweep as we win a domestic treble. We win the FA Cup. What happened there? We won on penalties after a 2-2 draw with Tottenham, 7-6. We have had some luck with these penalty shootouts throughout this rebuild, if I'm completely honest. Harry Kane with a goal on 12, Samuel Riki with a goal on 14. We were 2-0 down at half-time before making it 2-2 at full-time. And a 7-6 penalty victory gets us the FA Cup. And then the Carabao Cup, that's the 2nd time throughout this rebuild with a 2-1 extra-time victory. Iniacho with a 92nd minute goal. They were much better, Chelsea, as well. 22 shots, 13 on target, 57% possession. Onana then steps up again when it matters with an 8 rating. Solid from him. So what about finances then? £35 million in the transfer budget for the coming season. We are currently £21 million in the black, which is fantastic. Wage budget, £2.8 million. So we've got a 200k additional to spend there. Debt and loan wise, 149 million, but you know, all that has been consolidated into one bank loan. Squad dynamics then, how am I leaving the squad? So team cohesion is very good, club atmosphere is good, and managerial support is excellent. Players wanting to leave, Harvey Barnes and Verasimo. How did he get on this season? Only made 5 Premier League starts, now valued at £30 million. He's also out for 3 weeks, potentially. So what about team leaders then? Surely I've got to have full backing, which I haven't. 20 players supporters, 2 players have no real opinion of us. That's Sule and Kalulu. Social group's got to be one, though. As Mattiasino, so I had to buy 2 players in the January transfer window. Mattiasino joins us. He joined us from Flamengo in Brazil for 12.5 million. Only played 7 games. And then Felipe Cruz, a 24-year-old Portuguese national, currently valued at £13 million, 2.5 star. We brought him in for £13 million. He only played 3 times. And the reason I had to strengthen was that Victor Kornienko had left. He went off to Olympiacos for 11.75 million. Only played 1 time for us, but I thought we still need to strengthen, and I went for 2 players at right back. So looking at the player stats then, top goal scorer this season was Iniacho with 23 goals. The highest average rating was Luke Thomas with a 7.29. James Maddison had the most assists with 20. Best pass completion was Ballistix with 97%, not bad going. Most player of the match awards as well was Ballistix with 6. Most yellow cards Alvarez with 13. And red cards wise 3 this season, 1 for James Maddison, Alvarez and Nelson. What about those team stats wise then? So team stats wise, we scored 70 goals, which is the 6th best. Goals conceded, 23, which is the best. So we've really turned that around now with that change in formation. Yellow cards wise, we go 68, which was the 10th best. 3 yellow cards, which is the 6th worst. And average attendance, 9th worst. Not good, but we've won the Premier League in 5 seasons. Absolutely massive for us. So looking at the milestones then, you can see there, so I was hired as Leicester City manager in 2021. At the end of the 2023 season, we won the Europa Conference League. By the end of the 2024 season, we'd won the Super Cup, the Euro Cup and the Carabao Cup as well. 2026 was our best season. We won the Premier League, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, a domestic treble there. What about the overview though? So I have spent some serious money in this rebuild. I've been backed all the way through and I have taken some risks. That's the one thing I will take away from this rebuild, is the amount of risk I took financially with the club. I really went all out trying to get into the Champions League, the promised land, and it's paid off, you know. In other rebuilds, we could have fallen apart, but I spent 535 million, buying 29 players, 48 players sold for a value of 304 million. The highest transfer fee spent was 70 million pound on Declan Rice, and the highest fee received was 31 million for Ndidi. There we go, wow. So I think overall that's a fantastic rebuild. You know, this last season, the domestic treble is really the cherry on top of the cake, but on the other side, we have lost out in 2 Champions League finals, and we were so close on both of those occasions. Well, we didn't really get wiped the floor with, but it's just not meant to be this time around. So that is it then, guys. So thank you very much for watching. What I will say is, like I did at the start, if you are new to the channel, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, especially if you've got all the way through. You know, what a rebuild this one's been. There's plenty more rebuilds coming. And with FM23 now being announced for the 8th of November, there's going to be lots more going on, obviously, into that cycle as well. So yes, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to see any other teams rebuild, please leave me in the comments. Give me some ideas. As like I say, we are getting to the end of that FM22 cycle. So yes, thanks for watching. Stay safe, take care, and I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.